well, welcome back. Here we are. We are live and we are ready to do some more live Krita animation. I really appreciate you coming back and being a part of this experience and just having some fun. So why don't we get into things? I'm going to bring up where we are, spin a couple of tunes in the background, and let's get into the project that was voted on. If you're unaware, I do have polls every week and you can help influence the outcome of what we do. This particular week, it was decided that we're gonna do the flight of the airplane. So let's see what kind of shape that takes, and feel free to say hey in the chat. Also, feel free to offer your family-friendly suggestions about where this goes and what we're gonna do. All right, I'm gonna hop on over to this other brush down below. I believe this was an expansion add-on once upon a time, by the way. In the brushes, you can bring in different packs from different creators, and this was one of those, and I've really just kind of fallen in love with this particular brush because it has a really awesome texture. So I'm gonna use that some more, and let's see what we can do with that. All right. So I'm gonna start by just setting the specifics of things. I usually like to give it about 15 frames, grow that out as we go. If you've seen the show before, you know that that's my usual repertoire of things that I get going here. Also, I'm just gonna take 2 seconds, completely against my nature, and save my work right now. So we're just gonna call this Flight of Airplane. Good enough. Let's get to it. I know you're waiting. Thank you for your patience. All right, so I'm gonna start off. I was thinking this through again, and I had this whole idea. You tell me whether or not you think this will work, and we'll find out together. About kind of starting off with just kind of seeing the hand and the paper, and it takes off and it takes kind of a path through, maybe out the window of the house and out into nature, and we'll see where we go from there and what we have time for. But that was what I was thinking when I thought about this idea, and I'm kind of excited to see if it actually works or not. So first thing what I want to do is kind of get us going. I'm actually going to start at the beginning. I usually start in the middle somewhere, but I think for this one I'm just going to start at the beginning, and I need to kind of see what that would look like. Sometimes I pose my own hand just so I can get an idea of what that would look like. Yeah. Kind of wish I had one of those posable instruments. Like they use action figures, I know, which is kind of a different way of doing that, but it'd just be really awesome if I had something to work from. I'll keep that in mind in the future. So wherever you are, I hope you're having a very pleasant day. We've had a day or two of snow out where I am. Sun's out today, so it's finally warming up. It was a balmy 27 degrees Fahrenheit today. All going to have opinions about what the perfect paper airplane design is. I'm just going with kind of the easy traditional one that we think of, or at least the one I think of. All right. Gonna skip ahead a frame. Onion skinning is on. Let's create a blank frame, and let's do this. Trying to simulate the movement. Sometimes if you just have a reference in front of you, it's just that much easier to kind of make sense of what you're trying to do. Alright. Oh, I know what's going on here. Stabilizer's on and it's getting in my way. Let's turn it off. I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna give this guy fingernails. Just because I like him. Except that that one wouldn't really be there. Let's try that again. Yeah. We wouldn't be seeing it because it's pointing away from it. That's not quite right, because that's kind of the underside of his... There we go. We don't typically have, oh, looks like my camera froze up again. Sorry about that. Tried some settings, and you know what? It just, I don't know what's going on there. Try some more. Anyway. We don't typically have fingernails growing on the underside of our fingers, so we're going to fix that. There we go. And from here, we're just going to sail away. We're going to get like the tippity tip. Just need to revisit my brush. There we go. Of that finger, kind of as it goes. And now we're going to go. So this is going to be, I'm going to worry about the environment after we kind of get into this a little bit. So this part, we're just going to generate some flight path, I guess, of this airplane, and we'll do that. So this time we're done there. We're going to get a little closer to the plane. Just checking. Making sure that it's at least making sense so far. Okay. And we'll throw a little turn in there, and we're going to come back soon and then do something with the environmental obstacles, I guess. See if we can give it a little bit of drift the other way here. correction to it. We'll maybe back off a little tiny bit. Heading off. And then what I want to start doing is just giving us some space. Kind of the final line down here. I'm going to extend out frame count just a bit here. And when I say a bit, I mean literally mean one frame. And this last one, we're just going to back off even more. And that could be a little stronger. There we go. All right, another quick check here. Let's just make sure that everything makes sense. All right, so yeah, the part of it that's really going to help us here is now kind of the environment around us. So for this, I'm going to add another layer. And let's work off that. And also trying to decide if I want to do this in airbrush, which is already kind of a blurry format, or just blur it later. I guess I'll add blur later. All right, so let's just start working on the environment here. And I've got to come back somewhat, and this is going to be a little back and forth, cleaning things up. So maybe what we'll do is I'll come back and do that step afterwards. All right. And I need somewhere for this airplane to go. Too hard on myself, but at the same time I want to get it done. All right. So already by this point, should be moving forward a bit more. That it's being thrust forward. Although you could argue that that needs to be more wide rather than tight. Okay. You fear the arguing sort. I don't know. Take 2 seconds here and just clean these two up. We'll keep moving forward. And we'll just try to keep this somewhat simple. Really all I want to do is I just want to prevent overlap here. Fingers and things, and having the multiple layers is certainly helpful for this. All right, good there. There, good there. Okay, next. Don't need that. See if I made that same mistake. I did over here. Yeah, let's fix that. All right. How does that look? All right, well, apart from hovering in space. All right. So by this point, the finger is gone, and we're going to start moving our way in. Well, I'll worry about that afterwards. All right, I was gonna say I'll go ahead and start blurring it, but we're a little premature on that. So, go back to brush. So now we're really kind of moving, so I want to try to close it up here a bit. Sometimes I start to get concerned that I've been drawing the wrong layer. That's happened before. I'd really like to avoid that because the whole idea here is be able to work independent. So. All right, time to do a cleanup. Trying to get a sense of trying to track the motion a little bit here. Okay. New frame. And let's start flying now. So we're gonna just head for the door here now. And by that point, I don't really need to do anything other than, well, of course not erase it, but try to avoid that, but trying to couple together some of these activities, but it's just a lot of back and forth sometimes. Alright, so we're going to start seeing the next piece of things here. Actually, the angle's not quite right. And I wanted to try this idea. Not sure if it'll work though. Where somewhere in this, you know what, I better add that as another layer. This might take a little bit of experimentation. Right, let's clean that up just a bit. All right, and yeah, I don't think we got Not too crazy there. Okay, all right. Oh, a little bit there too. All right, back to brush. And new frame. Oh, I promised you guys another layer here. Yeah. All right. So on this one, I'm going to start with blank frame on there. And if you can't see very well, in the lower left-hand corner, what we're essentially doing here is not only are we making layers, but every layer has its own individual frames as well. So you can actually maintain 3 different running animations as layers all at the same time. That's essentially what I'm doing. It's also really cool because you get a lot of control that way versus trying to maintain them all in one set. All right, so now what I was trying to do here is somewhere in this hallway. I'm just gonna try this out. Probably gonna have to do this once or twice, but yeah, already this is. I wanted to try to put a person in the way. And really, for no other reason other than I think it's funny. Let's try that again. This part might just take me a little bit to get the scale and the perspective right. And of course, I'm not aiming for perfection here. You've seen me do this a couple of times now, and you know that I'm not trying to get it better than kind of a cartoony state, but still, I want it to look at least somewhat like it belongs. We'll focus in more on the detail on the face when we get that far. If I get that far. Not quite sure if this is going to work. I'm kind of squeezing this person in here. Yeah. Proportionally, this is kind of tricky. Straighten that out. Give him a neck. And the other reason I'm not too worried is that this is going by pretty fast. So, meaning that the motion is fast. It's not meant to be something where we kind of dwell on it and you dissect the frame as it comes at you. This is all literally in motion. So, not gonna stress too much about that. It's gonna give him eyes. All right. So the next piece of this now. Starts to get a little fun because I'm trying to decide which layer to work on here. So we were here, and now we're here. Yeah, we're going fast, so I'm just gonna jump on in here. And the environment has to have moved as well. That's another tricky part of this here. And I gotta make sure we end up in the right place of things. Did that all end up in the wrong thing? Yeah, alright, well, it happens. environment needs to be down here. We're kind of cruising on through. At which point we need kind of a window, which is going to be open. All right. All right, after that, treat this just as, I'm actually going to take away some of this here and try to work on this, the environment only, just for a few moments here. Because now we have motion in multiple levels, and that always gets interesting when you're drawing it by hand. So. Same kind of idea here. Just going to get closer to it. And I don't know. Let's see. Let's start crafting the outside. Maybe there's a tree over here. Something that we can. Let's see, what else is typical of a yard here? Why don't we put a fence? Not to get too complicated. Probably going to regret that later, but all right, let's work on that. Make sure we don't overlap there. All right, and now we're heading for the outdoors. All right, so the window itself now kind of takes over this next piece. I could probably should just be using the line tool, but whatever. We're moving here. And we want to expose more of the tree. Fence and things beyond. Maybe we get a little grass up against it. This is the part I was kind of loathing here because got to remain semi-accurate on the number of posts that I give myself. That is kind of the trick of animation here, is that whatever rules you set, you still have to follow them. So be careful which ones you set. Okay, yeah, I'm already. That's a bummer. Gotta do that again. Got confused by my onion skinning there, and that's not right. So I'm gonna do that again. Thought something felt weird there. Okay. Well, at least it's good to catch it now, rather than having moved forward a bit and wondered why I was missing half the fence here. So this is supposed to ride all the way over there. All right, and I have six posts there. And actually, I mean, this should kind of be like, yeah, way up there. There. All right, so 6. All right, more or less. Or open up more of the world, I suppose. We can give ourselves some wiggle room there. There we go. All right. Now onward. All right, so by this point we are completely out, and I want to check where we are with the airplane itself. All right, so this is where it starts to kind of distance itself up. So at this moment, it's kind of like we're still stuck in the house looking fully out the window, but the airplane is just going to kind of go on its own adventure from here. That's as long as we get to ride along with it. So in reality, yeah, as it takes off, maybe do one more frame that's just a bit bigger here because we're coming to the end of looking out the window. It's a little exaggerated. Some things we're not going to see very much anymore, just because we've kind of come to the edge of what we can see. Grass is going to be there, there. All right, and just a tiny bit of maintenance here. It's doing that thing where it's drawn on top of itself again. Ah. Oh well. Even if the best effort that you can try to do, sometimes it just gets the best of you. Not that it's beyond fixing, it's just kind of a pain at this point, and we'll keep going forward. That's okay. We can figure out where it landed. There it is. As I said, this is in motion. It's a momentary thing. All right. Try here to keep this on the right frame here. From here, I think we're just going to do a duplication because we're stuck inside the window, so that makes sense, and it saves me work. Oh, except for the fact that it drew on top of that one. That would have been awesome, but oh well. No such luck here. That is okay. I'm glad I have my onion skin, so all we have to do is just kind of draw it back in. And that is not so bad. The design is simple enough that we can do that. Get the shrubs or the daffodils, whatever's blooming here. There we go. Let's turn everything on. Let's see how we're doing here. All right, there's a moment there where something bleeds through. Yeah, right there. Wonder if the same thing happened there. Let's see. Or maybe I just haven't cleaned it up. No, okay, it actually was in the right layer, so that's good. I just didn't clean it up. Hello there. I'm gonna make an attempt. I think it's Bazti. Did I say that right? Glad to have you with us. Alright, that should be better. Let's try again. All onion skins off. There's still something bleeding through there, and I think there's another frame or two where I missed something. There. Yeah, because I was working on the environment. Okay. Makes sense. Didn't realize how much of the airplane is actually covering the screen. All my work. All my fence posts. All gone. Okay. Certainly coming along to it. Okay, so now I kept mentioning the blur thing that I wanted to do. Let's go see if we can manage that. And actually, there's a little bit of cleanup here I need to do too. I didn't notice that before for whatever reason. There we go. Okay, much better. And I think I'm going to try to do... You cannot uniformly apply effects to every frame, unfortunately. You can do it to a layer, but it's only going to pick the frame that you're on. So it gets a little repetitious, but it's doable. What I'm going to do here is duplicate the one where most of the environment should be. You may have to do a little bit of this manually. And I'm going to pick this first one, and we're just going to go to the right thing. Sometimes I'm thinking as I'm moving and I haven't quite arrived. The train has not arrived at the station from which I'm trying to arrive. And let's see. I don't think it gives me a preview, unfortunately, while I'm working in this mode. So let's just see how that came out. All right, and I know why this is too, because I have the other one still on. All right, that was a little bit too much. So let's back that off. And I remember last time I tried using blur, it wasn't showing me either until I had gotten out. But maybe this time, maybe there was just, there it goes. I think I'm just throwing so much at my computer, which is not new, by the way. This is, goodness, at least 10 years old, this computer. So it's doing fairly well, considering everything that I'm doing with it right now. What I can do also here then is for this frame, you can use, I believe it's Control F. Yep, so I'm just going to do that. And that'll help me move a little faster on this. Except for this one, we kind of want that in. Yeah, some things we want in focus, so this is where it gets to be a little interesting. Yeah, we'll have to do some manual stepping along the way here, but it's going to get there. Maybe about half so. See, this is doing a couple good things for us in that it's truer to life because the eye will naturally focus, even cameras will naturally focus on a focal point, on one thing, and they're on different depths of field. So this is helping us to kind of simulate reality a bit more in that we're focusing on the paper airplane, and it really kind of helps to sell that reality of traveling in 3D space, even though this is all two-dimensional and we're drawing it and we're making this up as we go. Now, I also just noticed I gotta clean up here. Oop, floated a little bit there. So we'll have to do two different blurs here. try to get it to where it looks natural, or at least as natural as cartoonist drawing can get. You know what I mean. Also, the person needs a little bit, because we haven't quite come up to him yet. And this is also another reason why I wasn't super concerned that he doesn't look hyper realistic, because he's going to be blurred a bit here. Just the same, I don't want cut off his legs. That would be nice. All right. All right. All right, I think what I have to do here is, yeah, I think we're going to need another copy of it, and I'll explain why in a second here. All right. Come back down to this one, because I think this was unfortunately one of those places where the selection ended up in the wrong place. We'll know in a second here. If not, all right, cool. Yeah, I was worried that I was going to have to cut him out a little bit there, but I don't. So, good with that. And get to this here. Oh, that was motion blur. Which can be cool to its own, but maybe we'll apply a little bit to that in the beginning. We'll see. We're starting to hit the edge of our time, so I think this is where we kind of depart out. All right, awesome. Well, let's see what we got. So that's kind of the whole process there. From here, as I've explained, just in case you're new before, in case you're new here with us, but really, if you've noticed, I kind of do things in pages because you can cover more territory, but really from here, really the next step would be you just go back and fill in the gaps. And that's really kind of what's left to do here. Slowing it down kind of gives us the better sense. Speeding it up, it would get to be a little too choppy because I haven't filled in all those gaps yet, but you can really kind of see and I think imagine with me what's going on here. And I think we can say that we've achieved the objective. I've achieved it to the point that I was hoping to do. So with that, I'm going to say thank you so much for joining in on this process and creating the flight of the paper airplane. I really hope that you can join us again every Wednesday. Sure, thank you, War Gaming Refugee. I'm glad you were here too. Every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm sorry if this week threw you. In my state, we do observe the daylight savings time, which, you know, it is what it is. But here we are, and I hope it's a little bit more predictable next time. So 2 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday. Come hang out with us again and see what we're going to do. The new poll will be going up in the next day or so you can vote on what we will do next. I wish you a very pleasant and warm afternoon. Take care of y'all, and I will see you again. Thank you so much.